On today's show, is Ben Simmons worth keeping for the LA Clippers? Going to be talking about it all on today's Locked On Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You were locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA, been a Clipper fan for 20 years, been covering the team for 5 years on my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, in 3 years, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and hit the notification bell so you know every single time we post a video, and follow us or listen wherever you get your podcasts. In this episode, which is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is the best place to get great deals last minute on tickets. Just download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. All right. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about Ben Simmons and if he is worth keeping for your LA Clippers. Now, I'm going to be talking about what I think and then what he's good at and what he's not good at. Now, when we look at Ben Simmons' current contract situation right now, and you look at the Clippers' payroll, he is an unrestricted free agent. Unrestricted. So we can either let him walk, we can bring him back. How much is he going to be making? How much is he going to demand? How much is he really worth? Personally, I don't think he's worth that much. And I don't think any team in their right mind is going to pay him that much with a stat line last season in a total of 51 games, which was his most since his All-Star season in 2021. He averaged for both teams, so his combined stats, 5 points a game, 5 rebounds per game, and 6 assists. To go along with, if you round up, a steal and a block, and 2 turnovers on 52% shooting and 73% from the free throw line. Not bad. Those aren't terrible stats for a guy coming off the bench because you're getting a good amount of everything there. But my answer to this question about what we should do with Ben Simmons, whether or not we should bring him back, it really depends. If we want to just be a good team, let's bring Ben Simmons back. He offers a lot of size. He gives us the ability to go small, put him at the 5 against weaker teams, of course. I mean, honestly, he had some good moments against Nikola Jokic defensively in games 3, the first 3 games, really. But he's still not an answer against Jokic. However, that's the best center in the NBA. What about other teams? You know, playing small, being able to switch 1 through 5. That's one thing that Ty Lue really likes. So he has that component. He has a transition element to him that, you know, we don't get with our starting lineup. You know, he really wants to push the ball up the court, make a quick play, kind of like Lonzo. And we just don't have many guys that want to play that way, is the thing. We've got Derrick Jones Jr. that wants to get up and down. We've got Amir Coffey, but he was kind of shunned out of the playoffs. Norman Powell will get up and down, usually for transition threes. But James, Kawhi sometimes. James definitely not. Kawhi sometimes. Zoo, I mean, it's not like he's bad at running the floor, but I wouldn't put him like up there in the league with running the floor hard, especially because we don't play a fast-paced transition offense. Chris Dunn wants to get out and run, though. So if we're just, I mean, he has that component, but in the half court, it can be rough. In the playoffs, let's take a look. He averaged 8 minutes per game, so that's really not much to go off of, and didn't even average 1 point. It was 0.8 points per game. And he shot 33% from the field. Now, the thing about Ben is, yeah, so if we want to be just a playoff team, though, I think that he can still be good. There are some redeemable qualities there, but if we're trying to be a championship team, nah. I honestly think I don't know if he can be a rotation player on a championship team right now, and maybe that's just me being harsh, but he doesn't look at the basket, and it's not just that he doesn't look at the basket. It's that when you have the ball in your hands that much, and you're I mean, I think Ben Simmons has some off-ball value as a screener, as a guy that can be in the dunker spot. But the thing is, we had a good amount of not great shooters around him, which made his presence on the court a little bit tougher to have. Say Chris Dunn, Derrick Jones is eh. And then, of course, Zoo's not a guy that's going to stretch the floor. The having Ben Simmons' value is for him to be on the ball. But somebody that's primarily on ball that isn't looking at the basket, that's going to hurt you at high levels. And beyond that, it's not that he's just not looking at the basket, it's that he's not very confident in himself. And when you look at the backup guards for the teams in the finals right now, Kaysen Wallace, Aaron Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, Benedict Mathurin, TJ McConnell, they're all very sure of who they are right now in this league. Ben Simmons, you just don't know what you're going to get in terms of his aggression level. Some games he's just looking to pass and screen, but he's not rolling with any conviction. And when he gets the ball on the roll, is he going to go up? Is he even a threat? Teams know he's looking to pass. It's like a tall, old Rondo. Not the good Rondo, but a tall, old Rondo that we had. But he's tall. So there's some redeemable qualities there. So my answer is this. I'm okay with bringing Ben Simmons back. It really just depends. Do we want to be a championship contender? Because if so, let him walk, I think. That's just my opinion. But if you want to be a good team, maybe get to the conference finals, maybe Ben Simmons could be a part of that. Ty Lue has done a good job with these, guys that are looking like they're on the way out. No one wants them. A full training camp with Ben. It's just what he wants to do is very different than what Harden wants to do. Harden is a playmaking god, wants to slow it down, get us a good shot in the half court. Ben Simmons wants to get it up the floor and push because he's not really a threat in the half court. So he wants to catch teams off guard in transition. And I think defense going to offense, defense leading to offense, continuing to be a good defensive team will help Ben Simmons' role on this team. But coming up, let's talk more about what Ben Simmons is good at. What does he bring to the table that we can even, kind of piggyback off of this season and take into next season if we bring him back? I got to tell you a little something about Olipop. Olipop is a new kind of soda made for people who love the classic taste of soda but want something that supports their health. With just 2 to 5 grams of sugar and 9 grams of prebiotic fiber in every can, Olipop is reimagining soda in a way that's better for your gut. Traditional sodas are loaded with sugar, like 39 grams in a regular Coke or 44 grams in an orange Fanta. Olipop flips that script with just a fraction of the sugar, no artificial sweeteners, and gut-friendly ingredients like Ollie Smart, a blend shown to support digestive and overall health. It's soda that tastes like the real thing, but actually does something good for your body. How does it feel cracking open a soda that actually supports your gut health with Ollie Smart's prebiotic blend? Get a free can of Olipop. Just buy any 2 cans in store and they'll reimburse you for 1. Head to drinkolipop.com/LockedOnNBA to claim your free can and find Olipop near you. That's drinkolipop.com/LockedOnNBA. All right. So let's talk about Ben Simmons and what he's good at. Well, Ben Simmons is a tall guard. When he came into the league, there was a huge fascination about he's like the next LeBron. You know what I mean? He's 6'11" and can handle the ball, and he can pass, he can rebound. He's a freight train in transition. But the thing is, he's had a lot of injuries, a lot of back injuries. It's safe to say, besides the injuries, he had a little moment of a I would edit those coughs out, but I think it was a perfect moment. I don't mean to be mean, but there's no doubt that choke in 2021 against against the Hawks was a moment where he lost confidence. We always knew he wasn't the best shooter, but he was so aggressive getting to the basket. He had some jump hooks around the rim. I saw a highlight reel, funny enough, on Thursday. I saw a highlight reel of Ben Simmons in the playoffs. I believe it was against the Nets in 2019, and he just looks like a completely different player. You know what I mean? That's pre-injuries, but I still think he can do a lot of the things he used to do, maybe at a slightly slower speed, but he lost so much confidence when he missed that layup or didn't shoot that layup against the Hawks, and Philly just basically like bullied him out of town. And, he got super hurt about the way that Glenn Rivers handled things and then basically boycotted, and then he was traded for James Harden. Now they're on the same team. But the thing what Ben Simmons brings to the table is pace. If we want to play faster, and we got to play a little faster if we want to actually be serious, then he's a good guy to have. He's going to push the ball. He's going to pass, which makes it so that our offense is going to be more of a start with a pass offense, which I like, obviously. For youth level, it's different. I always say that. You start an offense with a pass. I have a personal story behind that. But James Harden, sometimes we come into a possession, and a lot of times we just get into our high ball screen, and we see what's happening from that. And then the possession is dependent on what kind of read James Harden makes, which is a different approach. The James Harden way is a much more efficient way because Harden is that much better than Ben. But what Ben does might be able to get other guys involved. However, it's still dependent on guys that can put it on the floor and create, attack closeouts and create. So the thing is, Ben Simmons, I got to focus on what he's good at. Sorry. So yeah, fast break, he's really good there. Rebounding, not bad. Obviously, he's big, he's tall. In the regular season for us this season, so I'm gonna talk about his stats with us. He played 18 games, averaged 16.4 minutes a game, so 16 minutes a game. He averaged 3 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists, 1 steal, and 0.4 blocks a game. So, but a lot less turnovers. He averaged 2.7 in Brooklyn, only 0.8 with us. But he averaged 3, 4, and 3 on 43% from the field. Is that really worth keeping? But here's the thing. Stats aren't everything. And I'm one of the first to tell you that. Stats are not everything. But those were his stats. Those aren't great. But he does add that element to small ball. And I kept saying it. Now, the thing is, the Clipper fans that want Ty Lue to go, they don't like small ball. They're tired of it. Ben Simmons staying on the roster would give us more of that. But it does. What small ball does, though, when it's run correctly, and I think with Ben Simmons, against teams that don't have the best center in the league on the team, or the best player in the league, but he's particularly a center, we're going to be able to have a lot of success with that because Ben Simmons is still he's a good defender. He's not what he was in 2021 where he was defensive player of the year caliber, but he can move his feet pretty well and he's really big and he has good hands in the passing lanes. He's long arms. So, and he can, because of his mobility and his size, he can guard a lot of different positions, especially fives that don't want to post up and take advantage of size. So when it's done right, the reason why teams switch everything is because they don't want to give teams an advantage on pick and rolls. Because nowadays, the advantages that you get on pick and rolls are more easily exploited than ever before because of the spacing of the lineups that we're playing in the modern NBA and the amount of guys that are shooting the 3 ball and shooting it pretty well. But even just guys that aren't even shooting it well, like Chris Dunn, like throughout the season, not every team is just like completely letting him shoot, but teams know in the scouting report to let him. However, it makes the pass a lot easier for his teammates because, when you're stretching the defense that much, it's a lot easier to create open shots. Geez, what's up with my voice? I'm being by the way, if you notice me it's seeming a little quieter, I don't know how it's coming across. You can tell me in the comments. It's because I've moved into a new place and my roommates go to sleep early. So I'm trying to be like not super loud, but don't take that. I'm not trying to be less energetic. But anyway, so in terms of finishing, let's take a look at Ben Simmons' finishing stats or shooting stats this season. So when we look at his shooting this season for the Clippers, he shot 45% within 3 feet. So he shot less than 50% from within 3 feet of the bucket, which is not very good. For reference, in his career, he shot 71% from inside the paint. But for Brooklyn, this current season, he shot 65%. So the sample size might not be very big. I got to stop looking at the stats. It's not making my case better of what he's good at. So transition, versatility on defense. So when you switch everything, you're taking away the advantages on pick and rolls and you're forcing teams to play more isolation. So he's good for that. The thing is, though, with Ben, and this is how he needs to be better. He is 20. How old is this guy? 28 years old. He's actually going to be, wow, it's his birthday next month. So he's going to be 29 next season for all of next season. At 29, you should be in your prime. Now, Ben Simmons' prime is always going to be 2021, but he can still be better than what he's been the last couple seasons. I'm not totally giving up on him. I think maybe with a full season of Ty Lue, he can get there. But when I say get there, I mean like averaging 6, 4, and 4, but good defense and being an impact player. But what can he improve on? It's really mental for me with Ben Simmons. Like, it's mental. And I don't know what he's, the conversations that are being had behind closed doors and if he's speaking to a sports psychologist. He probably is and all that stuff. But I think it seems like his back is fine. He needs to just find confidence, being aggressive. I mean, of course, the cop-out answer is like, bro, get in the gym, work on your shot. I think, it's safe to say that some guys, like, shooting is definitely something you can practice and get better at, but there are just some people that are born to be great shooters and some people that are born to not be able to shoot the basketball, and Ben Simmons is just one of those, unfortunately. But he still has had decent touch around the rim at times, so I would say lean into being more of a post player because his passing is good. So if he catches the ball around the bucket against smaller guys, because usually he's going to have a smaller guy on him, then he can be a threat scoring the ball just by catching it deep, and then he can pass out of the post. That would make him better. You being used as a screener more. The thing is, Chris Dunn's not a very good ball handler and decision maker at the NBA level. We've learned. So it's really Kawhi Leonard, Bogey, and Harden are the guys that we can screen for and really try to get a good look out of it that can make good reads. But that's still plenty of guys I just named. So being able to be used more as a screener, I think having a 6'11" guy going downhill that can pass the ball on the roll is very advantageous. And then, I guess just finishing better. He can finish better, but you have to be aggressive. You have to look at the basket. You have to be a threat to score. If he can be a threat to score, given, our defense is still going to be good if we keep the team largely together, we can get out and run, and that's going to make him better. He'll push the ball up the floor. He'll really try to get the ball moving. And maybe the key to having more ball movement-centric offense is Ben Simmons playing more. That is something that BJ said when he came on the show. It's just that I didn't think that was the go-to for the playoffs, just based on the evidence that we had of, what Ben Simmons did versus James Harden did. I would definitely lean more into Harden. But maybe the key to resting Harden more is letting Ben Simmons kind of have a unit where he comes off the bench and really pushes pace and plays a completely different game than our starters. I think that's the best case for Ben. So overall, Ben Simmons, what he brings is a transition element, a small ball element, a size element, another good defender, someone that can screen and roll, someone that can take the ball out of James Harden's hands. So there's a lot of good things there. How can he get better at some of those things? A lot of it's confidence. Confidence to go up strong, to keep being aggressive, looking to be a threat on the floor. Maybe catching in the post, screening even more. But what are the limitations with Ben? What's making me say, I don't really want him? He can't, if we're talking championship, no way. Let's talk about that coming up. I got to tell you a little something about game time. There's nothing like the NBA playoffs. I've had the privilege of being at 4 Game 7s. Clippers are 3-1 in those. Obviously, all Clipper games. 3-1 in those. And the intensity, the Chris Paul buzzer beater against the Spurs are like the game winner. Those are some of the best memories of my life. And if you want in on that kind of action, Game Time makes it fast and easy to get seats, even for the biggest playoff games. Prices on the app actually drop closer to tip-off, and with killer last-minute deals, panoramic seat views, and no surprise fees, Game Time is a total game changer. I was just on the app, and Zone Deals were offering 10% off exclusive Zone deals for FIFA Club World Cup matchups, and this is the first of what's going to be a totally different format with the Club World Cup that's going to have like teams like the LAFC or LA Galaxy, or teams like LAFC and LA Galaxy playing against teams like Chelsea or Arsenal or PSG. So it's going to be a whole thing. And it is a whole thing if you're checking it out now. And Game Time makes scoring NFL tickets just as easy. The schedule just dropped. You'll find great seats for as low as $100 thanks to exclusive discounts. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right. So let's talk about what I'm scared of with Ben. See, for me, the game is all about confidence. That is something that I at times lacked as a player growing up. And I think, was partially because I didn't have someone that always was there telling me, you know, you're good. I believe in you, this and that. My parents were, like foreigners. They weren't in the basketball scene. So, like, they weren't giving me advice on that kind of stuff outside of like the basics. So, and I didn't have a consistent coach that was there. That's part of why I coach. But in Ty Lue's case, I don't think he's a guy that. See, this is the thing. I'm not in the locker room. But Ty Lue's never struck me as a guy that didn't give his guys confidence. That's all I have to say, because he had Reggie Jackson feeling too confident. He had Marcus Morris feeling confident. He had Paul George playing some of the best basketball of his career. He had Nico Batum revived. He had John Wall. John Wall's problem wasn't, lack of confidence. He was too confident. He was doing too much. Luke Kennard is the one player I can say where it felt like Ty Lue kind of hindered him. Terrence Mann, to some degree as well. Ben Simmons, I don't know. He didn't. When you look deep at the series, right? The playoffs this past season. Ben Simmons in game 1 played 13 minutes. Didn't score, but he was a +5. I remember I liked his impact in those 13 minutes, but we lost the game. The next game, he played just 7 minutes. He was an even ±, but we won the game. And then the third game, he got 9 minutes, and he had that. Well, he didn't score. Totally forgot about that. But he was a +9. I remember his impact being good, though, in that game. And then game 4, he played just 6 minutes and 53 seconds, which is nothing. You could argue he deserved a little more time, but in game 4, we didn't have much room for error. And he got 4 fouls in 7 minutes. Like, what? And then he didn't even play in game 6 and 7. That's crazy. He got totally benched. I kept saying, though, after game 5, I was like, he's not offering anything. He had a donut across the board with 1 rebound and 1 block. But it was only 5 minutes. I mean, you could make the argument he could have played more. I just don't think we saw enough good stuff. Look at the stats I listed in the regular season. And I'm not a stats guy, but I'm telling you right now, he's not looking at the basket. So teams, let's run pick and rolls with him. Everyone's going to go under the screen. He's not going downhill with any kind of conviction. And his defense was, like, his urgency, though, sometimes. Like in the playoffs, I think it was game 5. His urgency defensively and at times in transition was appalling. It's like, I just question how much he really loves this, to play basketball. Like, I really do. And I hate saying that as a podcast host that's not in the league and all that. But I'm not the first to say it. Because, I don't know, his body language and his effort level in the playoffs at times in that series was, I didn't blame Ty Lue for what he did. I really don't. But I understand if some people think that he deserves more time. Maybe Ty Lue hurt his confidence. Maybe I was wrong. I mean, I just advocated, again, I defended Ty Lue by saying just now that I don't think I don't see him as the kind of guy that, like, will kill a player's confidence outside of, like, maybe Luke Kennard, Terrence Mann sometimes, but you never know. Maybe he hurt Ben Simmons' confidence, but I was saying this about Ben Simmons with his confidence level before he even put on the Clipper uniform. So I don't think it's a Ty Lue thing, but let me know what you guys think in the comments, because what he's not good at is, obviously, he's not good at shooting. It's the lack of aggression. He's a good passer. He is a good passer, but it's, you sometimes need to create an offensive advantage to have a, pass that's there. Otherwise, it's just, you're passing and, you're just passing the ball to pass it, which I like as well because it gets the ball moving, but, he needs to be a threat as well. In terms of, since we have some time before the episode ends, so my final verdict is I'm indifferent. If we want to win a championship, though, I would not put I'm done taking chances on Ben Simmons, man. Like, I'm done with it. Like, everyone's like, oh, maybe Ben Simmons can do it this season. Like, dude, he's just cooked. Like, but maybe I'm wrong. And I'm okay. And I'm down to be wrong. I'm totally okay with rooting for him. I really am. I want him to be good and play well. But I'm not tripping, honestly. Let Bogey run that second unit. Just let him be the backup point guard. Because then we have Chris Dunn off the bench because I want to get a power forward. So then we have our backcourt. Now let's fill it up with a backup center. You have Nico off the bench. And what's Amir Coffey? Amir Coffey's not coming back. He's probably offended about the whole playoffs thing, especially because he's a homegrown guy. But the reason why I don't like no pass possessions, I've probably told this story a bunch of times. But one time, I was being coached by Adam Keefe from the Utah Jazz, 97. And I came up the court. We were playing a 2-3. We were playing against a 2-3 zone. This was in a rec league. 2-3 zone. I was playing with his son. And the 2-3 was falling asleep. I came up the court. I was the point guard, and I just jacked a three. Like, I was just like, ugh, they're not guarding me? Like, I'm going to pull up. And I missed. And he came back. He pulled me aside. And he was like, Darian, if John Stockton ever took a shot like that, coming up the court, making your teammates just do cardio. I don't think he didn't say those exact words. He was saying you basically just made 4 of your teammates walk up the court to watch you miss. None of them touched the ball, and you're supposed to be the point guard. He said if John Stockton ever did that, Jerry Sloan would have ripped his head off. I've never, ever seen one pass possessions the same after that because he made a valid point. I'm coming up the court, and no one's touching the ball. They're just doing cardio to watch me brick. And it's like, if we're going to brick, we might as well get more guys touching the ball. And it's not the NBA where you're trying to generate as many good threes as possible. And I know I was like 13 years old, so like it's not a good shot by any means because I'm pulling up for three because I had confidence in my jump shot. But I'm really appreciative of Coach Adam, for saying that because it's always made me view the no pass possession as like a terrible thing unless it's transition. And even when it goes in, I don't like the process because it is real. Like the ball has a rhythm, there's a rhythm to it. Like touching the ball feels good. You know what I mean? And you can really go cold standing around. And there's a lot of standing around and watching and a lot of offenses today, including ours. And, that's why I say with that 2018 Game 7, like, yes, the Warriors had more talent, but when the ball was moving, I knew some of those threes were going in before it left their hands, whereas the Rockets, when they were just standing around waiting and Harden would still create a bunch of good shots for them, I just was like, the weight of the world feels like he's on these shots for Ariza and Gordon and all these guys. And with the Warriors, the ball's moving, they're moving. It's just like there's an energy to the ball and there's a feel to it and the rhythm. It's a real thing. So, I'm always in favor of ball movement. It's why I view the game the way I do. It's like, again, it's all I say is like, it's not a hate of any guy or any style. I mean, it is a hate of a style, but not of any guy. There are things that have happened in my journey of basketball playing, and I think everybody just needs to kind of realize that is everybody has their own experience with whether you're a basketball fan through playing or watching that formulate what you believe is your basketball lens. Now, I speak about this like it's religion or like a college course because I love this shit with my yikes, didn't mean to cuss, but I love this with like all my heart and soul. Like, you know what I did today? Club practice. Then I'm on this mic. And so much of my life revolves around hoops, calling parents about their kids and their skills and whatever. So like I dedicate my life to this game because it's given me so much. It's made a lot of friends for me and done so much for me. And, I always emphasize to people that like, yes, I am a Clipper fan and I love this team. I bleed red, white, and blue. America. But I bleed red, white, and blue. By the way, happy Juneteenth. I wanted to make sure I included that as well. I bleed red, white, and blue for the Clippers, but I'm a basketball fan first. I don't like basketball because of the Clippers. I like the Clippers because I love basketball. So that is why I give the Celtics and Lakers legends props and stuff like that. I am just respectful of the people that built our game and, of course, those two franchises, even though I've lived with Celtics fans and I've been around Laker fans my whole life, and I don't want them to win because they're so annoying about it and they've won enough. Like, who am I as a basketball lover to not respect Bill Russell and Larry Bird and Kobe and Magic and Kareem and Wilt Chamberlain and Cousy and all the guys that built the game? You can't tell the story without them. So that's my whole thing. And when you look at the dynasties, they're mostly ball movement, not stagnant like the way we play. Is that a personnel issue? Is that a coaching issue? Is that both? We've talked about that at length. So Ben Simmons, do you want him back? Let me know in the comments. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Dime Dropper Pod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA Clipper and LA sports content. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell to get to 8,000 subscribers. The age-old proverb continues, go Clippers.